Hey, what's up? This is Steve Cardenas, aka Rocky the Red Power Ranger,
And Jeff Barrazzo, Trent Fernandez Mercer from Battle Thunder.
and you are watching Team Venom Media.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Team Venom's Power Ranger podcast. I'm your host, Rory Bailey, joined by my co-host, Paul Baker. How's it going, Paul? Paul?
It's going pretty good. I'm sitting in a bathroom that's kind of messed up, but yeah.
Very good, thank you. And then we've got a very special guest in the prop master from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and beyond, Mark Richardson. Mark, how's it going?
Good. Just enjoying the writers' acting strike and doing everything I can to sell old props and everything else to make a buck. But it's summertime, so that's just.
Hey, I tried to tag you in posts to help you out, man. I don't know if anybody bought it or not. I don't know.
Everybody wants like the Red Ranger's sword or whatever, thinking I'm tripping over it. Oh, what do you got screen used? I'm trying to explain to them that was like 35 years ago, and every day somebody calls me up going, "Hey, do you have any screen use props?" It's just bottom of the barrel stuff, but I still got some stuff.
Keep
One of
it, man.
one of the things that I've seen on there that you've done that a lot of people have been posting on Facebook and have been showing photos of is the power coins that you've made from the original molds.
Right.
And I've seen you've done like the Ninjetti sets and the original sets, but they've come from the original molds that you used for the show. Is that right?
Yeah, everything's from back in the day. So the coin molds are getting a little snidely, but they come with a little COA, and you can buy them off me on Horror Icona. I should add a little card for it, but it's just Horror ICANA, Horror Icona. If you want to get a hold of me, I also have which for some reason I guess some people are pissed off at me. I have the original mold for the Dragon Dagger, and I've been recreating that. It's kind of pricey. It's $650, but it's the same exact one I was making for JDF before his demise, unfortunate demise. But I have that. I chrome made a coin. Everybody thinks I copied. There's bootleggers bootlegging my coins, and they're saying I bootlegged the bootleggers. But not that I ever had gold-plated coins, but I made a gold-plated dragon coin that fits in the morphers, the 93 morphers, and you get that with you get two of the decals for the morphers that are from the exact same company that printed them back in '93. So it's kind of a fun deal if you want stuff like that. And I just made it available because everybody hounds me for it. It's funny because I think Starlight people are like, "Oh no, they're bootlegging Starlight." Yet they came out with my communicators recently. It's like, what are you guys talking about? Who do you think made this stuff? It's almost like it's like they forget that I'm the one that did this stuff back in '92. It was a while ago, and I'm a working prop guy. I was on the Old Man, Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow show right before the writer's strike. So when I sell stuff, it's not like I make a living off that stuff. It's just that there's such a demand for Power Rangers stuff that I make it and I sell it. I'm not trying to stop all these bootleg companies that are selling this stuff, but they're like threatened by me for some reason, which is kind of comical.
I mean, you just brought it up. So how is this bullshit strike affecting you? Like a lot, a little bit?
I'm unemployed. There's no work for me. I'm a weapons expert. I stand on the side of the freeway going, I teach you how to fire an M16 for food. It has to be done. We have to have our strikes. They want to upgrade. But the problem with the writer's strike is I don't know how they can get around AI writings and computers. Because the biggest problem in Hollywood, and I can get shit for this, but um, you know, these scripts are cookie cutter scripts. So an AI, of course, could pop it out. You know, I mean, make these writers make more creative choices, so we don't have these PG-13 horror films like Annabelle and stuff like that. Just crappy shows. Let's make the writers work for it, but they should get paid for it, and I'm all for it. I'm a union guy, so I turned Power Rangers union back in the day. Of course, Disney bought it 10 years later, made it non-union, and took it away. And now it's Hasbro has it. But I think Hasbro is bringing it back to America. I'm hoping, making it union again. I'm hoping that's what happens.
Yeah,
But
I saw a thing saying that they've stopped. That Hasbro have now said that they're no longer going to be filming in New Zealand. So that was a random news piece over the last week. So
yeah,
that sounds very much like what you're saying.
I want everything, to be filmed right here in California. I want everything back here. We just got the incentive during the strike to get tax cuts in California, because I've been, like, I was on Queen of the South, where I was in New Orleans and Texas. I was leaving for months at a time, because that's where the work was. And California is pretty much dried up. But with the incentive, hopefully and when the strike's over, I'll get back to work. I was at Comic Con.
I agree with you. I hope they, when the writers do come back, that everybody can agree that the last 10, 15 years, everything's just, you're right. It is kind of cookie cutterish per se. Even like going genre to genre, it's all the same thing. There's hardly any like real unique ideas coming out there.
Yeah.
Hell, why don't you throw some out, man?
Throw some scripts.
You're a creative guy.
I'd love to. I got some up my sleeve. I'd love to get something going. I'm always trying to weasel somebody. On Power Rangers, I was always, trying to change things. The only thing they ever really worked with me on was, it came from Angel Grove. When it was horror, because I'm a big horror guy, they would work with me with, when it came to that one, like, I talked them into doing it at nighttime. It was supposed to be Adam falling asleep at the library and having this horror, it was our Halloween special, but I talked him into doing it at nighttime. I made it, I talked him into doing it in black and white. At the very beginning, I get to be a werewolf at the very beginning of it. Whenever we got really creepy, I was all excited. I made and not that I made him, he was always great about this, but JDF, during that episode, wears Dracula's ring that Bela Lugosi was buried in, and he plays a vampire. So I got him to wear that the whole time. That was pretty fun.
Nice.
That was Power Rangers Zeo, right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
And that was a good episode. I like that one.
Yeah, but I started off how I started off. People always go out, I started off writing, directing, and doing. So I started off doing really low budget stuff. For Trauma, I did Nukem High 2 and 3, and I thought this is going to be great. And so if there was money and low budget, I would just stayed there. I would have stayed with Trauma. And Power Rangers was, extremely low budget. That's how they got me. They wanted somebody that works low budget, brought me over, and just, because, the reason why I made a lot of this stuff is because I didn't have the funding, the budget to shop it out. And so I was just throwing stuff together like I did on all the other films that I did. They were constantly, wanting, hey, make a device that's going to save the world. We need it, tomorrow. And so I was just throwing stuff together, and it was fun. It was exciting. Now when, like I said, I work on the old man. I basically do weapons. That's the only thing that's exciting anymore, because everything is, we have to show it to the line producer, the producers, the director. It goes through a whole gamut of people that, and then we send it off, and somebody else makes it, shows them, it's a different world. But doing Power Rangers was a blast, because they didn't question my stuff, and they just said we needed it, so I had to have it, and that was fun. I enjoyed the hell out of Power Rangers in the early, when I was working on it. It was a great show.
What you're saying about the horror stuff, I know obviously, like you mentioned earlier, you've got your Horror Icona group for selling the bits and pieces on there. I've seen a few posts over the last few years of bits and pieces that you've worked on, and one of the things that I noticed was there was a photo where you're on the set of one of mine and Paul's favourite shows, which was Lucifer. There's a photo of you with Lucifer himself on the set of Lux. So, how long did you work on that for?
The prop team quit during COVID. It was just too much pressure for them, and we came on. And so I did the last season. And,
oh wow!
I gotta tell you, I'm as straight as they come, but I have a man crush on that Lucifer guy. He was the greatest guy ever. Really, really is.
Don't get me going. Don't get me started. Come on.
He is such a great guy. I love him. He was, and he would go out of his way, like, to talk to crew members and just see how they were doing. He was just such a great guy. It was a really fun set to work on. I really enjoyed working with that guy.
Yeah, we really enjoyed the freaking show too. Damn it.
He's the one. I literally on the back of the truck, and I said, the fans brought you back. I can't believe they're canceling the show. And he said, I'm canceling the show. He goes, I'm just done. I want to go on. I want to do other things. I'm done with the show. So it was him. He's the one the reason, and I understand that, he's, you don't want to, but it was he was so good in that. It was a great show.
Yeah. He's, I know there's been a few things where people have been fan casting him as the next Batman and things like that, which, to be fair, I could see it.
Yeah, I could see Bond. I could see him as James Bond. He's he's suave,
I can picture that. Now, were you part of the Once and Always?
Nope, I had nothing to do with that. I was once again non-union in New Zealand. Hasbro hadn't moved over and stuff. Some folks told me, that they're not going to get a hold of me anymore. But some folks said they screwed up things, like like they were sending me photos of the belt, like Billy had, like was wearing, the Mastodon belt, and people were saying that they kind of screwed things up in the vein and the homage of how we screwed up everything at the first couple seasons. So I thought that was funny. I didn't watch it. I was glad to see David Yost out there. I just did a little horror film with Walter, probably a month before he was going over there and doing it. Those guys were wonderful. They're wonderful actors, wonderful people. I want nothing but the best for them. I just saw Walter and Karen at Comic-Con this week. It's great seeing them.
Well, nice. So obviously we've touched upon your stuff with Power Rangers, and we've mentioned about your props and such. But something that you let us know on the last time that we had you on the podcast was that you were the one-time Lord Zed for the Turbo movie and such.
Yeah. I brag about that. I'm not credited though. They literally said, "Hey, Mark," because Ed Neal is the stunt guy that was Lord Zed, and he was fantastic. And he's a great guy, fantastic. Our stunt team was unbelievable, but he wasn't there, and I don't know how I got invited to be in the suit, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to be in the suit." And so I got in the suit, and all I had to do was snore and rock back and forth next to Rita, and she's talking to Diva Talk, saying, "I have to put up with this," and me snoring. But once I got into that suit, I realized I was kind of claustrophobic. It's like being wrapped in a Ed Neal burrito. It was just really frightening. And all I had to do was rock back and forth, and Ed jumps through hoops, explosions, fights, and so I couldn't, I couldn't say, I can't do this. I can't do this. So I just dealt with it, but it was very creepy in that suit. But I get to say I'm Lord Zed.
That helmet is claustrophobic. I have the Lightning collection one, and it's like, holy shit, man! Like, you can't move. You can't, like, there's no headroom at all.
Yeah, and you're zipped all the way up. Your face is open, but the whole thing zips up to that, and then the helmet goes over it. But and I had a sleeping mask on top of that, so I was. But like I say, that usually gets me in trouble because I'm such a fanboy. I was doing Rob Zombie's Halloween, and Rob goes, "Hey, Mark, Scout, who's playing Lori, is going up to the door and she's putting the mail in the Halloween house, and Michael Myers is supposed to be on the other side and pulls the mail through it, and Rob goes, "Hey Mark, pull the mail out through when she grabs it." And I go, "Wait, you want me to be Michael Myers?" He goes, "No, I no, just pull the mail out." Wait, but that's Michael Myers. I'm Michael Myers. You want me to? Damn it. All right, Mark, you're Michael Myers. Pull the mail out. So I'm giggling like a schoolgirl on the other side of it. I'm Michael Myers. And, she comes and I pull the mail out. We do the scene a couple of times and I was all excited because, I got to be, do that for it. But we're shooting the next scene and Scout Taylor goes to Rob while I'm standing there going, "Oh my God, I accidentally took my backpack off right before I did that scene." So when you watch Halloween, and Rob gives me a dirty look, I was like, "I was Michael Myers. I was behind the door. I didn't see it." So when you're watching Halloween, she's walking down the street with a backpack. The backpack magically disappears when she walks up to the door to give the mail. And then when she walks away, she has her backpack on again. So I was all excited. And then, at the same time, I made you screw up for Halloween.
I actually got to meet Rob Zombie. Oh man, at least 10 years ago. He was a special guest on Monday Night Raw. I had best passes. I gotta say, out of all the rockers that I've met, probably one of the nicest dudes I've ever met.
Yeah, I really liked him. I liked his wife. I met him originally at the on Devil's Rejects. I did the Firefly shootout. They brought me with weapons, and then the prop master we talked left, had to leave, and they had me be the prop master on the very last day of Devil's Rejects, and so I got to go to the wrap party and I got to talk to him.
Great movie.
One of the things that I came back with, I wanted to know what Rob Zombie's favorite horror film is. And he said Frankenstein. I thought for sure he was going to say Creature of the Black Lagoon because he had a creature tattoo on him. And Frankenstein appears in my life a lot, like the concept of Frankenstein. And I'm a huge Universal monster fan. Do you guys know about this? Universal Studios is going to dedicate an entire theme park to the classic monsters. Have you heard this yet?
No, I haven't heard about that.
No.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
It's going to be just Universal Monsterland. And it's not going to be part of their theme park. It's a whole new theme park that's dedicated just to Universal Monsters. I'm so excited about this. It's going to be so good. I'm the only thing, because I work with Famous Monsters of Filmland, and they go out of their way to pay the rights to the Lugosi family and the Karloff family for the likeness of like if they're going to do a T-shirt, it's going to be Bela Lugosi. Universal won't do it anymore, and so all their Universal monsters kind of look like the actors that we know, and I don't like that, but I am excited about the theme park and stuff. But that all being said, I was working on Bad Santa 2 with Billy Bob Thornton. Once again, man crush. You guys I mean, just the greatest guy in the world. I mean, it's the reason why I love working on films. You get to work with these over like the top creative people, and you get to meet them and talk to them and stuff. And he was telling me that his whole character, that Forrest Ackerman was the producer of Famous Monsters of Filmland, and he always wanted to talk to him, but he unfortunately passed away. But he always wanted to tell Forrest that his character in Sling Blade was how he played it was as if he was Frankenstein. And I thought it gives a whole new look to Sling Blade, but it makes sense. It was a creative choice, but I love the fact that he used Frankenstein for his character in that. And I wanted to share that with you guys. How's that?
That's awesome.
I'm gonna have to watch that tonight. Damn it.
Yeah.
Whole new perspective. I like that.
Yeah. So I know you said that you're currently unfortunately out of work because of the strikes and whatnot over there. What recent projects have you worked on?
Well, The Old Man was the last. The Old Man before that, and I've been doing a lot of low budget stuff with my friends and stuff, just showing up and doing wacky things. But with Walter, I did a low budget horror film called Dead Mill, and I've been acting in those, just being crazy. But before the Old Man, which is a phenomenal show, if you guys haven't watched it yet, it's on Netflix. I was working on Dead to Me, and before Dead to Me, I did this weird show about these Mormons who this one Mormon abducts their daughter. He seduces the entire family. I can't remember the show, but it was like when I read the script, I go, "This is ridiculous." Then I found out it was all factual. That actually happened. This
Wow.
guy seduces the mother, seduces the father, and then the like 12-year-old daughter. The guy was just a bizarre thing, and the way he went about doing it was really crazy. But I did that, and then before that, I think it was the Old Man again, but Jeff Bridges had gotten cancer, so we'd gotten shut down. And before that, Queen of the South. Queen of the South was another show that I really loved doing. If you guys ever get you, I mean, it's over with now, but it was a great show. I really enjoyed working on that.
That was on USA, correct?
Yeah, it was a really good show. Really, I mean, it's all Mexican drug cartels and stuff, but just really good. And the actors were such great people. It's weird because you really do develop. I mean, you think it's just people talking, but you do develop a family after a while. You work with them so much, you get to know them and so well that and then it's over, and then everybody goes their own separate ways. But and it's cool. It's cool to be working, and one of the actors that or one of the crew members, get back with them and stuff. But it's it's sad because once the show's over, you're done. And I don't know. There's something about certain shows that there's such a sensitivity that that they give out, and you just fall in love with everybody, and when you miss them. I miss Queen of the South. I miss working on that show. I miss Power Rangers. I was talking with Jeff. I was doing all that stuff for JDF. I was making his morphers and his dragon daggers and sending them to him. And we are talking. He called me 3 weeks before the disaster, and we were just talking, and I would have in hindsight, his brother had killed himself while we were filming back in the day. He'd hung himself in the dojo. His whole family suffers from depression, and I might have thought about it, but the guy was always on. He was always so happy. But when Kurt Cobain died of depression, I was like, well, why would you do that? Everybody loves your music, blah blah blah. And then when Robin Williams did it, I was like, well, there's something I don't understand about depression. Obviously, it must be something horrible for somebody of such stature to do that is loved by so many people. And then for JDF to do it, I was just blown away. I mean, I mean, at Comic Con there was a huge memorial, and it wasn't planned. It's just that they had some kind of panel, and all of a sudden they did a huge memorial for JDF, which these kids are always going to love them. They're always, I mean, it's going to be indented in their heart the rest of their life. I don't think he really fully understood. Maybe he did, but just how many people just adored him, and so many people I talked to. I was latchkey kid, or I didn't fit in at school, but I had Power Rangers. And it's just so weird that it had such an impact on the world. I love that. It's just fantastic.
It's
And it's such a
strange. The night it happened, I was, I'm always in Facebook in the groups and whatnot. And somebody put on their RIP JDF. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. No, no way. And like, I stayed up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning that night. And then finally it hit. Like, it became official. Like, God, be kidding me. Like, you grew
Yeah.
up watching this guy. It was like a hero. Like, hell, I'm 41 years old and he's still a hero to me.
Yeah, he was wonderful. He was a wonderful guy. I Steve Cardenas, I think, or a friend of Steve's called me and said you're going to hear that JDF killed himself tomorrow. It's true, and the person that called me, I would not BS. You don't BS that way. I was just blown away. It's weird. The last 2 years has been a lot of that. Just random phone calls of people that you would never expect to die. Suicide's another thing though, but just because of COVID, certain people just died. You know, I've been in the punk scene forever, and a lot of my friends, the lead singers in bands, or in punk bands, a lot of those guys died during COVID. It's just been a hard time. Really bizarre. It's been very negative, just bad, just weird. I don't know, but here we are, the survivors.
Indeed. I can remember when it first came out, the first websites that were announcing the news were all ones that weren't major websites. So I know I myself was just in a state of denial by default, because it was like, well, it's only being announced on these sites that I haven't got any real reputations and such. Why isn't it being reported on mainstream news and such? And then 6 hours later, it was everywhere, and yeah, it was awful. I had the good fortune to meet him once, and that was a fair few years ago. I had a night out in Birmingham in the UK, where I had a night out with former WWF Tag Team Champions Too Cool, and we were in Birmingham's walkabout, and they got like a photo booth thing, and Steve Cardenas walked in, and he walked in because he wanted to have a picture with Too Cool. So me and my friend like geeked out because we just saw Rocky walk in. We went and grabbed him, got him to come and have a few drinks with us. He rang his friends to come and join us as well, and that was Johnny Young Bosch, Paul Stryer, and Jason Narvi. So I had like an unplanned accidental night out with him, which was amazing. But Steve got me press access for Comic-Con a few months later, because we were talking about how JDF had been feuding with CM Punk, the wrestler, on Twitter and stuff. And he basically said, I said, oh, do you think they'll ever fight each other? And he says, oh, you can ask him yourself. And next thing, 2 months later, I'm sat in London with the pair of them, and it was awesome. And so my whole interaction with JDF as a result of Steve doing that was fantastic. He was just a genuinely nice guy who was going out of his way to make sure that every fan that queued up for him got a decent picture with him, and he spoke to all of them. It was awesome. I can't say enough nice things about him. So, but, yeah,
they're all. I really dig all of them. It's funny. I just I don't know what they did, but I was working on my show before we shut down, and Johnny Bosch and Narvi called me up and said they were doing some kind of action film, and I just propped them out with a bunch of airsoft weapons and stuff. I don't know. So I guess they got a movie coming out pretty soon. I'm curious to see how that worked out. I love to see. I love watching Narvi. I think Paul Schreier and Narvi. We tried. Well, Saban tried to do a spinoff called Men in White, and it was obviously a parody of Men on Black, but it was Paul Schreier and Narvi basically fighting aliens and stuff. And they were using a bunch of the monsters they had from Japan and stuff. And we did the pilot, but it never took off. And I just, because they were so good together, I just loved watching those guys. They were monsters. They were great.
Oh, if only we could find that pilot.
Yeah, I know. Every once in a while, I stumble across in storage, like, super soakers spray painted silver. That was from that pilot. But yeah, it'd be great to. I never saw the pilot. I just saw, I just worked on building the stuff for it. But I wish that would have took off. I think it would have been fun.
Well, I'll wrap. So it's been an absolute pleasure having you on here, Mark. Again, it's been great chatting to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
and I'm sure I speak for Paul as well when we say you're more than welcome at any time you want to join us. You're more than welcome to jump on.
Anytime, if I can do it, I'll do it. I enjoy talking. I'll be at Mad Monster Party end of the month, next month, in North Carolina. I got heroes, like Japanese heroes in Simi Valley. Scott Zillner that does Morphicon's doing that. I think the 18th of next month. If anyone's in the area wants to come by and say hi, I'll have my Power Ranger wares that I try to sell. I gotta, yeah. And if anyone wants to get a hold of me, Horror Icana, just Horror ICANA. If you want to buy anything, just call me or see what I have. Right now I'm selling my stuff. 'Cause I'm not working. I just you ever see that movie The Warriors?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. The One of my favorite actors is a guy named David Patrick Kelly. I'll try to wrap this up real quick. But the guy, the Warriors come out and play. Yay.
Yeah, yeah.
He's gonna be in North Carolina, so I bought a bunch of plastic beer bottles, and I'm making Warrior beer bottles so you could take pictures with them with his bottles to collect together and stuff. But it's funny because I'm sitting there going, well, how can I make a buck? What can I do? I'm a prop guy. I can make whatever. But it's always a pleasure talking to you guys. And if anytime you want to get a hold of me, I'm here for you.
No,
Thank
we'll
you.
definitely plug your stuff on the group, man.
All right, thanks, man.